श्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत नः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामविद्रयवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्।
ఇలాంటి ధైర్యం చేత మనం ఈ యొక్క దైవ సేవలో మనం పాల్గొనాలి.
With that conviction and courage, you should render service in society.
ఈ విధమైనటువంటి యొక్క ధైర్యాన్ని మేము సాధించుకొని సమాజంలో మీరు ప్రవేశించాలి.
With that spirit of courage, go to the society.
ధైర్య సాహసాలతో మీరు సేవల్లో ప్రవేశించాలి.
With all the courage and valor, you render service.
ఇది ఏమి సేవ, ఎట్టి సేవ అనే విచారణే మనకు అక్కర్లేదు.
Don't bother about what sort of service it is.
Seva and the spirit of sacrifice is not only found in nature, it lives in people, in those who choose the harder path, who carry the weight of responsibility not for power but for purpose, in those who quietly shape change one challenge at a time. One such leader is Dr. Pallavi Jain Govil, IAS, a name that echoes not just power but purpose. Her life is not just a tale of position but service. Aradhana through action. That is the spirit she embodies. Worship not merely at the altar but in every act that uplifts, includes, and transforms. Born into a family where development was not a department but a dinner table conversation, she moved from Sierra Leone to Baghdad, from Kabul to New Delhi, absorbing cultures, understanding struggles, and carrying with her one enduring lesson: the world changes when you choose to understand it. An academic mind with a compassionate core, she pursued economics at the Delhi School, a master's in public policy at Princeton, and a PhD in public finance from New York. Not for accolades, but for answers. How do policies touch life? How does data find meaning on dusty village roads? She found her answers not just in policy documents, but in the heartland of Mahabharat, Madhya Pradesh, in the red-soiled parts of the remote Abujamar and the quiet, forested villages of Mandala and Dindori. As a young mother, she carried her child in her arms and walked long stretches, not as a gesture, but as a necessity, into villages where roads had not yet reached, where the only way in was on foot and the only way forward was through trust and tireless effort. She didn't delegate the ground realities, she lived them. That too was her seva, to work with those left behind, to listen deeply and to act meaningfully. As Health Commissioner and later Principal Secretary in the Madhya Pradesh government, she brought precision to public systems, digitizing medical logistics, building the award-winning EVIN network, ensuring that every vaccine vial could be tracked, even in the most remote hamlets. In the face of COVID-19, this digital backbone stood strong, saving lives by the thousands. In her years at the Prime Minister's office, she handled ministries that shaped the country's economic direction: finance, commerce, rural development, women and child welfare, learning to balance vision with viability. She worked with large systems big budgets, complex policies, yet she never lost sight of the individual. Behind every statistic, she saw a face. Behind every number, a name, a story. Today, as Secretary of the Department of Youth Affairs, Government of India, she continues to bridge the divide between technology and tradition, between data and dignity, and between aspiration and access. Seva is not a chapter in her life, it is the spirit of her journey, a journey still unfolding. Aradhana through action, a journey of inner anchoring through Seva. Dr. Pallavi Jain Govil, IAS, Secretary, Department of Youth Affairs, Government of India.
Om Sri Sairam, offering my humble salutations at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagavan. Dear brothers and sisters, as we celebrate the Janmotsavam of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, today I, Bharat Mohan from the state of Kerala, a current participant of the Sri Sathya Sai National Leadership Program for Self-Transformation, welcome you all to the 8th episode of Satsangatve Nissangatvam. Just as Naivedyam offered to God returns as prasadam, the work offered with sincerity, dedication, and purity becomes a sacred instrument in His hands. In the life of a true civil servant, every policy shaped, every challenge addressed, and every life touched becomes a part of that offering. And the grace that returns is the opportunity to serve more, to serve better. That is Aradhana through action. Today, we have among us one such leader whose every act is a reflection of devotion, love, and commitment to the service of others. Aradhana through action. Dr. Pallavi Jain Govil, IAS. With all love, we welcome you, ma'am. Sairam.
Om Sairam. Thank you. Do I start speaking? Bharat?
Yes, ma'am. Please, you may.
Okay. So, thank you for having me amidst you today. And I think this national leadership program for self-transformation, it is a very good initiative. And I see that more than 350 participants from all over the country have joined this. So you are indeed blessed that you are carrying this forward, and the path that Swamiji showed us, that is being propagated, and people are benefiting from the lessons taught to us. I must also say you've been very kind that you have put together all this information. Swati asked me, but I was a little reticent. I did not really talk much, but you have actually made me walk through the years of service. Now I am about to be completing 31 years in public service, and it is a time of reflection. And I hope today I can share something of this public service journey, which would have meaning to some of you, and some thoughts, ideas might resonate with you. As the video showed, I accompanied my parents. My father was with the United Nations. He was a community development specialist, so he had various assignments. And as a child, I accompanied him to Kabul, Sierra Leone, Baghdad, and then back to India in middle school. So this journey, there was a very small Indian community those days in all these countries. It is not like now that you have a big diaspora. So as a very devout Jain family consisting of only parents and I as a single child, we used to look for companionship and for our own communities. So I remember, I don't even perhaps remember that clearly, but when I was a very small child, we went to one of the bhajans on Thursday, hosted by one of the Indian families. And there, the sense of community made us go back again and again. And a very welcoming thought was, it does not matter what faith you belong to. It does not matter what faith you belong to, because there is something which unites us all. So that was very attractive, I think, to my parents. And as a small child, I used to observe it all and perhaps take it all in. So one thing I would like to anchor this in is what the one wall hanging which Swamiji blessed, which we had in our house. The ravages of time, I don't know where it has gone, but it remains in my heart. It said, watch. So that watch was watch your words, watch your actions, watch your thoughts, watch your character, watch your heart. Now, to me, this watch is something which I have held dear all my life. It has brought me strength. It has brought me the strength of conviction. It has brought me solitude in times, and solace in the times when I have had to face great dilemmas in life or any adversities in life. But when this watch, the concept of watch came to me and stayed with me, I think that is something which has let me become, in some sense, in some parts, what I am, and to even aspire to become a better version. So I would like to again dwell upon the concept today of Aradhana through action. And that what actions should we do, which is the Aradhana of God. I would like to begin with something which all professionals, we all as professionals, most of us dwell on, that what are the kind of comforts that we're looking for, what is the job satisfaction that we derive, and from our work, what are the material comforts we can get to get ahead in life. So here I would like to quote something that Swamiji has said. He said that comfort is confused with peace. It is taken to be the same as peace. Peace is essential for sharpness of intellect. Peace develops all beneficial characteristics of man. Take refuge in the innermost recesses of the heart, where there is a reservoir of peace. As we go ahead in our professional journeys, many of you must be very young professionals. Many of you would perhaps find this of relevance to you, that today's materialistic world, we face increasing competition in our workplace. We face increasing accumulation of wealth. We find an increasing display of one's prosperity. Now, prosperity, if it has come to you, okay, I'm sorry, I got a little distracted because there's a translation happening. I can switch to Hindi also from time to time. तो मैं ये कहना आपसे चाह रही हूँ कि हम लोग जो मटेरियल कंफर्ट होते हैं, जो हमारे पास पैसा दौलत होती है, इसको हम समझते हैं कि ये हमको शांति दिलाएगा, पर ये शांति ये एक भ्रम है, क्योंकि शांति हमारे भीतर है, हमारे अंदर है. उस शांति की खोज करना, to find that peace within ourselves, is the biggest comfort of all. And this is what Swami has said. And his discourses, you can find that in his discourses, in which he said that the biggest peace is within yourself, and take refuge in that. उसमें शांति खोजे अपने मन के भीतर में. मुझे याद है, मैं यहाँ पे आपको एक वाक्य सुनाना चाहूँगी. जब मैंने यूपीएससी क्लियर किया, ये बात है सन 1994 की, 1994, when I cleared the UPSC exam. And I got a pretty decent rank. I was amongst the top 20 all India. Now, I was overwhelmed, of course, with emotion, with thankfulness. And I told my mother that I want to go for darshan for Swamiji. I had never had darshan. I had never even thought about darshan. But the first thing which came to my mind that time is I need to go for darshan. And my mother, she took me. That time Swamiji was in Whitefield. And that time we knew nobody in Bangalore. So it so happened that near the railway station, my uncle used to stay. So we stopped by at his house, and he said, "I will arrange for you. I have a very dear friend who is a devotee of Swamiji, and he will take you." So it so happened that we were ready to stay in a hotel and find our way, but because of this intervention, Swamiji has strange ways in which nimit ban jate hain, in which some things happen which you would not have anticipated, but which make the way clear for you. We went to Whitefield, in Whitefield, where we queued up outside quietly, where all the Sevavratis, all the Sevadal members were guiding the visitors, the devotees into neat rows. Somehow, when my turn came, one volunteer, one Sevadal member, took me aside. I did not know why I was being taken aside. And then I was taken to the front row, and I was able to get darshan in a way which perhaps had I continued in the same queue as everybody else, I would have been very far. Even though darshan is darshan, it does not matter whether you are sitting at the feet of Swamiji or you are at a distance. It is the thought in the heart and the feeling which goes, which is the most important and which stays with me till this day. So I think that darshan was not just darshan itself to have the feeling of being blessed, but an introspection of what have I joined the service for. As a career, I had a career set in academics, as it was mentioned. I had done my master's from Delhi School of Economics. I had also cleared the NET exam, and I was thinking of being a researcher. But then when I had this opportunity, and it was a time to have a clarity of thought whether I want to continue in my academic life and the comfort of home, the comfort of a city, of the city of Delhi, which I have known very well, studied in, I'm familiar with, or go to an unknown place, work with people whom I don't know, work in solitude. In those days, we did not have very good phone connections also, and who knows where I will end up working. But that time, my parents said to me that don't take off this, think this as a mean achievement. It is an achievement which many people aspire to, but your aspirations are not for the comforts which come with this position, because there are no comforts. Be clear in your mind that when you join the civil service, it is meant for public service. So when I mentioned to you that I've done 31 years in public service, it is very clear that the reason why you join the public service, if that clarity is there, then there is no obstacle which will come in your way. Obstacles will come, but those obstacles will be merely a pause or merely a reason for you to get your resolve stronger. Now, when the path became clear to me that yes, there is joy in discovering parts of India, my country, which don't know. There is a joy in working with people whom I don't know. That sense of purpose kept me going. The initial few years were very hard. I came from a very privileged background, so I was used to the material comforts of home. I was used to being looked after in every way by my parents. So initially the years were very hard. Initially, when I had to look out for myself. But then, I remember, I recall this one incident when I was in SDM. This was in the subdivision of Shujalpur in Madhya Pradesh. And I found that as a young 23, 24-year-old magistrate, I had to pass judgment on people's disputes of land, right of way. I had to pass judgment upon people who were delinquents, law and order issues. And I found this to be tremendous responsibility for a young person. And I found that to me, it was a spiritual thing that I used to derive the strength by an evening of meditation after the day's work for the next day, because sometimes it was very daunting. Big tasks, how do I accomplish them? I should not stray from the right path. I should not give a judgment which is not the correct judgment. It should not impact the right person in this dispute in a wrong manner. I should not take away the right of anybody. Uh, so all these big thoughts, these big considerations were sometimes overwhelming. So I mention this because sometimes our workplace makes us overwhelmed with the task at hand. In such a overwhelming situation, I think meditation, introspection, and inner peace is what we must find to take one step at a time and move ahead. And when we are clear of heart, we are when we and watch, as I said, watch. When you watch your thoughts, when you watch your character, when you watch your heart, if your heart is in the right place, the right answer will come to you. It will appear automatically. As they say, the famous adage that sleep over a problem. Give it time. Let your heart be in the right place. Let your heart be for the righteous path, and the answer will automatically, over time, be clear to you. Now, that value which I saw in everyday activities, that was a great motivator to keep going. And then when my family came, when I had young children, it was very daunting because I also had to take care of the family, as I also and while my husband, I have a very supportive spouse, but at the same time, there are things that a mother does, and however supporting your spouse is, there's something which a mother naturally tends to do. So it was very hard on me when I had to give that time to public service, which was perhaps um, meant for my children, or that my children had the same demand on my time, which I was forced to give elsewhere. So I again recall, I can narrate an incident when there was a law and order problem. This was the district Rajgarh in Madhya Pradesh, which is bordering Rajasthan. Now, this assignment needed me to be out sometimes on the roads with the police colleagues for maintaining law and order in the district. It was a highly sensitive district. It had some caste equations which were not very harmonious. It had some communal equations which were not very harmonious. And in order to maintain peace, law and order, and be able to do some development work, one had to actually tour a lot, and my children were very small. Even then, when I used to see the difference that talking to people, building bridges makes, it used to make it all worth it. At the same time, many of you professionals will also find that how do you balance family life? I would also like to take a minute over here to say that when your professional life becomes extremely taxing, two things. One is physical exercise, the second is meditation, dhyan. If these two things are done even for a short while regularly, one is able to overcome a lot of challenges in a very in a manner which does not deter you too much from your path, and very gracefully. So, with that grace that Swamiji wants everyone to conduct their lives with, that grace of which is divine. I'm not saying I'm divine, not at all. Just the grace you imbibe from Swamiji's words, the grace you imbibe because of that, that allows you to do your daily work, even if there are obstacles, with peace, and also find value in the work that you're doing on a day to day basis. Let me quote again from Swamiji, and I think this follows from the example I gave you of my early days in service. That service is the highest spiritual exercise. Engage in a service activity. Love all, serve all. It is not easy. I find that sometimes people hesitate in making friends with people who are not like them. So if you have somebody who uh, talks in a different language, has a different food habit, dresses differently, looks differently, prays differently, has a different religion, we find that we look for our own similarities. We find that we want to, we find discomfort. We feel uncomfortable. But if you believe in the goodness of humans everywhere, and you start enjoying this difference, then you will see how receptive people become to you, and how much comfortable you can be, whichever part of the world you are in, whichever part. So, as a Jain, when we lived in Baghdad, they are, I mean, we are purely vegetarian. And in Baghdad, being a Muslim dominated country, with some Christians, but I think some Kurds, uh, they were, I think it was the first time really that I saw big calves and buffaloes hanging from shops on the roads, and the slaughtering happening quite visibly, etc. As I'm talking to you, those memories are coming back to me now. I remember that, my mother once was quite shaken, that she said that I've seen a slaughtering happening, and I'm very shaken. And then my father sat down with her and said that, okay, we respect what is the food of the people over here. You don't, you saw it, okay, but you can understand and have empathy and for them, and not be deterred by that. Now that helped. And I was just a small child, I don't think he was talking to me, but I heard it, and it stayed with me. As a result, when I was food safety commissioner in Madhya Pradesh, I made sure to give equal emphasis to food safety for both Samesh and Ramesh, for both vegetarian and non-vegetarian food outlets, to give them both equal emphasis from my own side. Because one has to understand differences of people, their aspirations, their lifestyles, and embrace them all. I think as a public servant, or even if whatever profession you are in, if you're a teacher, in your class you would have so many children who are from so many walks of life, different classes, different castes, different languages, different communities. We need to embrace their differences. We need to respect the differences. We need to celebrate those differences. And there's a lot of joy in that, because I have friends all over the world now. I have friends of all faiths. In my house you find the holy books of all religions. The Jain book of the our Jinwani is the book I grew up with. But my father, my mother, they also occasioned to read the Bible with me. They occasioned to read a English version of the Quran with me, and of course the Gita. I think I got to know about the Ramayana and Mahabharata mostly from the big TV serials. They were not, from the Jain faith. You don't really know too much apart from what is in the popular thing. And the goodness of all the religious philosophies, the similar strands which run through. Those are the takeaways which helped me have a respect and enjoy all the philosophies and all the people that I've worked with. And I look forward really to meeting and understanding different cultures. And I that kind of motivates me, and also it's like a turbo engine. It charges me even more. I think it gives me a lot of joy, and I look forward to those kind of interactions. So about seva, when Swami said love all, serve all, he said your entire life will be sanctified by seva. With genuine keenness or readiness to serve others, one can attain happiness. I'm reading this from a small book, and I thought I'll take those passages which are relevant to my own life, and remain my guiding spirit as I go through the, I don't know, about 7 years remaining in my service as of today. Now, I would now like to talk to you about my experiences of conflict. We all come through situations of conflict in our professional lives. We come through situations of conflict in our personal lives. We come through situations of conflict in the community. Um, do you walk away from conflict? Do you face conflict? Do you become the voice which is the bridge between conflicting thoughts? These are very hard situations which all of us face uh, on many occasions. I can draw the example in my own career from maybe the COVID time. COVID time was a very strange time which all of us have gone through. Whereas at that time I was the principal secretary health in Madhya Pradesh. And Madhya Pradesh, with its nearly 9 crore population, and it is a state on the lower spectrum of the income, on the income per household spectrum of India. So we had limited resources, and here I found that it was very hard between initial days. It was very hard amongst within conflicting ideas, conflicting theories, conflicting guidelines, how to find the way forward. Even the medical fraternity, they themselves did not know what is to be done, how it is to be done, how to find resources to do what we had to do. Everybody was scared. At that time, I think was a big challenge to provide the leadership, to be able to train the health personnel very quickly on the on the challenge that is in front of us, to make them believe and resolve that service is their utmost duty, and they have to think about service, seva, not about self protection. Everybody was scared. In such a time, leading from the front, with my small team, we were able to train thousands of workers within a couple of weeks. As you all know that in those days, video conferences became very, very popular. Before that, we did not have video conferences so much. But then, utilizing this newly available video conferencing facilities, we were able to train, we were able to talk directly to many, many health personnel. So I think we were able to motivate many of them to overcome fear. It so happened that in a few days, a few weeks time, I contracted COVID myself. So a wave of fear engulfed the health personnel. So, if you actually Google my name, you will come across many conflicting news reports. Some of them were supporting me, saying that she's still working. Some of them were laying the blame at my doorstep that she's spreading COVID. So I was not spreading COVID. The moment I got diagnosed, I isolated myself. But then utilizing technology, I was able to work from my home with my team to give necessary approvals, to for them to buy necessary medicines, to put in place the necessary framework required for the team to combat COVID. And I think that to this date, I find that my team, my former team members, they reach out to me whenever they, even now, whenever they have any kind of a query, when they have a doubt, they sometimes still come to me, because that teamwork which we built, that feeling of empathy, that feeling of oneness that we were able to create, I think that helped Madhya Pradesh bear the brunt of COVID very well. And I think we had a very, very good response from all our health personnel across the state in overcoming that big challenge. And I think, as it was mentioned in the video, that our very strong vaccine network uh, made us one of the fastest states which was able to roll out the COVID vaccine and administer the COVID vaccine to the population. So that past work actually came in really useful at that time, which I may not have even anticipated. That I certainly did not anticipate that there would be a time when we would have to deal with a pandemic of such proportions. So I think this feeling of serving all, loving them all, helped me also overcome fear. I was very fearful. I remember a day when a doctor was recounting the days of the Bhopal gas tragedy and warning me that there might be a day when unmentionable kind of scenario he was creating. I don't think he meant bad, of course. I think he meant to warn me that a pandemic left untreated or unattended to can have big ramifications on people, and that made my resolve stronger to motivate the team. More important, they were technocrats, they were doctors, they were team specialists who could do medicine. They were procurement specialists who could do procurement. But I think my work was to put the team together, to be the cohesive force between all different strands. And I think I was able to do that with some measure of success. Of course, when I introspect, there are so many things I could have done better. So I don't know how much opportunity I will get in this lifetime, but I think I'm grateful to God for having been given this opportunity to devote my life in such matters in the service of our people. After health department, I moved to the tribal welfare department. So I have actually had a career serving in the tribal areas of erstwhile combined Madhya Pradesh. So जब मध्य प्रदेश और छत्तीसगढ़ एक राज्य थे, तो तब मेरी पद स्थापना बस्तर में हुई. शुरुआत मैंने धार से की जो मध्य प्रदेश में है. बस्तर एक बहुत ही पहुंच विहीन और पूर्णतः ट्राइबल डिस्ट्रिक्ट है जो अब छत्तीसगढ़ में आता है. और वहाँ पे मैं अपने बेटे के साथ में, मेरे हस्बैंड की पोस्टिंग कहीं और थी, अकेले रहती थी. वहाँ पे बिजली का साधन भी घर में नहीं था, कभी-कभी बिजली आती थी. सड़कें मुख्य मार्ग अच्छा था, द मेन रोड वाज गुड, बट द आर्टेरियल रोड्स वर क्वाइट बैड. Left wing extremism was quite prevalent. But in those days, I found a lot of support in the Ramakrishna Mission Ashram in Narayanpur. To this date, I remember having those conversations with the Ramakrishna Mission Ashram Swamijis on the way forward, on what they are doing for health and for education. And that helped me on my strategy that in my days in Bastar, मुझे अगर बस्तर में विकास कार्य करने हैं तो विकास कार्य तो बहुत सारे हो सकते हैं, कोई सीमा ही नहीं है. तो मैं फोकस किस पे करूं? What should be my focus? And we decided that we will focus on health, on water, on education, on and electricity. These four things will be our focus in the rural areas. Now, this message percolated down in the villages. This message, when we spoke to all our elected representatives, this message went, and with a lot of satisfaction, when I look back, I can say that in that time that I was posted in Bastar, with the development professionals, with my Zilla Panchayat, with my DRDA staff, the rural development staff, there was not one incident of any left wing extremism having affected our team at all. Not one. It was, I think, in the history of Bastar in those days, one of the most peaceful times that we were able to spend, because I found amazing receptivity from people, and they were so keen for the benefits of development to reach them. But over here also a lot of teamwork, a lot of motivation, a lot of sitting down with the teams and spending long hours to to form our strategies in a collective manner instead of giving by diktat. Now this is a very important point, that as a leader, how do you lead? Sometimes you have to lead by example, but most often you have to lead by being a team player, by listening to others, by listening to their thoughts, by listening to their ideas, to the strategies which they suggest, and some very often those strategies are in line with what you think, but also very often you have to change your own thoughts and adjust and facilitate what consensus comes up in order to make the team move forward. So I think this team building and working with teams, especially in times of conflict or conflict of ideas, conflict of way forward strategies, that team building is also something which is a very important part of public service. And not just public service, any profession, whatever profession you are in, whatever aim, whatever work sphere of life you are in, I think the ability to forge consensus, listen to your team members, and be able to work with your team is something which is a mantra for success in whatever fear you are, phase of work, sphere of work you are in. This team building and consensus building is also what makes families successful. Um, Very often in our Indian culture, it says that children should listen to their parents. I also want my children to listen to me, but I also know that I have to listen to my children increasingly. And I can see Bharat smiling over here. Increasingly, you need to listen more than tell. You need to understand their aspirations, their needs more than tell them what you think that they should be doing. I think I would like to say that even within families, it is very important that we learn to listen. We learn that with love and with complete dedication and devotion, we listen to the thoughts, the problems, and that mm, is something I would like to say that these days young people are facing a lot of stress in life, a lot of mental stress, mental health problems. Why are these mental health problems happening? Is it, to my mind, while there is a lot of individualism and a lot of shrinking of community spaces, I think there is a lot of value to common communities such as this one. So we are here as a community. And if you are able to find a friend or a colleague or a family member who is just willing to listen to you, that takes care of a lot of your stress. So I think listening is very, very important, which we have to inculcate as a team member and as a leader. And that's something which I would like to, I don't think I can emphasize enough on the power of listening and the power that, and listening with empathy. I think more than listening is also listening with empathy. Because if you listen to somebody with a prejudgment that this is what that person should be doing, you're not listening with your heart open. That person may be coming from some conflict in their heart, some conflict in their workplace, some conflict in their family. You need to have empathy for that. So that's something I would like to just recite two lines from this bhajan in the Jain faith that we say very often. It says, and I'll translate after this. It says, दुर्जन क्रूर कुमार ग्रतों पर क्षोभ नहीं मुझको आए, साम्य भाव रखूं मैं उन पर, ऐसी परिणति हो जाए. What does this mean? If somebody is a criminal, durjan, cruel, cruel, kumarg, wrong, uh, paths, or people who are doing wrong things, क्षोभ नहीं मुझको आए. I should not disparage them. I should not see them with a negative light. I should not do tiraskar to these people. Samya bhav, keep my equanimity. If I keep my equanimity towards them, that is the spirituality that I should aim for. That reminds me of one more thing I had seen, which reminds me of what that Swami had said, would be very relevant over here. Yes, that I can see that. It says, so what Swamiji said was, I have my definition of the devotion I expect. Those devoted to me have to treat joy and grief, gain and loss with equal fortitude. So, not just should one treat people with sympathy and empathy, but also have the same sympathy and empathy towards the ups and downs in life, the same sympathy and empathy towards people with dealing with grief, people dealing with joys. We should have the same feelings of samya bhav towards them all. That's one thing I would like to say. So I had mentioned about my tribal charges, and I spoke about Bastar. More recently, just till about 3 years back, I was Principal Secretary Tribal Affairs in Madhya Pradesh. And one of the things that that in tribal affairs we do is to run the hostels for tribal children in schools and colleges. Um, Now, given that government funds are usually limited, we found some very good tribal hostels and some very badly maintained tribal hostels. So we thought that apart from the regular administrative work we do of giving food or providing bedding, repairing, etc., let us also work with a program for motivating our wardens. So we started again Zoom to the rescue. We found a very good motivating speaker, and he is now he was near to 80 years of age, but a corporate motivator, very very enthusiastic. And his name is Mr. Nand, S. Nand. And Nanji said ki I will take on this task of voluntarily doing motivation camps. And we had week-long motivation camps over Zoom. And every camp, 30-35 people used to join in. And I think over 2 years, we were able to motivate to get over 1,000 such hostel wardens in our camps. Now, we used to talk to them about, first, we used to empathize with the work which they were doing. They were living in remote tribal areas with limited facilities, looking after children. And we used to say that it is so hard to bring up two children at home, and you have 50, 60, 100, 120, 150 children in your hostel. What a challenge it must be for you. Excuse me. Parents have entrusted their child to your care. What a daunting task it must be for you. And just saying these words, many of them used to break down. They used to say that we have always been given tasks to do. Nobody has told us how they understand the challenge we face. So we started with gratitude for the work that they are doing in the circumstances that they are doing it. So I think this boils down to empathy for your co-workers. They are a co-worker. They were overwhelmed that they were talking to the principal secretary of the department. I told them I cannot meet them all individually. I would love to, but we can use this virtual meeting as a tool to be able to converse and to be able to understand each other's thoughts and aspirations. So I think empathy for the other person's workload, empathy for where the other person is coming from. Now, one of some of you might be thinking when I'm saying this that you also have people who are shirking work in the team. You also have people who are trying to pass on the work to others. So I think these are very hard questions. You have to be empathetic. You have to be firm about the expectations you have from others. You have to lay down the boundaries, yes. But if you lay down those boundaries with firm commitment and with empathy, I think people respond and respect you for whatever you have laid out for them. I think it is my mantra. I have sometimes had to work hard. I've had to be much more patient than maybe a diktat by that administering by diktat. So now let me come to my, I think the last 10 minutes of my addressing you and then we will open up for questions. Let me come to you with my current charge. Let me talk to you about my current charge. Currently, I'm posted as the Secretary to Government of India in Youth Affairs. So what do we do? Youth Affairs has various so two parts of community service. One part is for the institutions, colleges and higher secondary schools where we have the National Service Scheme, and the other is through the My Bharat Kendras, which used to be called the Nehru Yuva Kendras, where in the community we have volunteers and they do volunteering service. Now, I think I wanted to quote over here the motto. The first day I joined here, I had gone through NSS. I had done an NCC camp in school. I had joined the NSS chapter in college. But the NSS motto, I don't know if any of you know the NSS motto. If you do, please raise your hand. I'll be happy to take that right now. Okay, I'm glad Lakshmi, Sai, Varenya, they've raised their hands, and many others. So you know the motto of NSS, which is not me but you. So how beautiful is that? Isn't it what Swami says? Not me but you. So I found that this is an opportunity. I'm a little overcome with emotion, so give me a minute. So I found that this posting is a way for me to reach out to all over the country through a beautiful organization whose motto is not me but you. Thank you so much for all the hearts coming in. So, in our work, when we find meaning, that is what makes every day a journey which is so beautiful. Now, youth which is with us, and youth which is working in their communities, if we are able to inculcate this feeling of, see, every youth, when you're young, you want the world to be a better place. You want to change the world, isn't it? As you grow older, the realities of life come. You start to fending for your families. You start worrying about having a good car, a good house. How much is the other person earning? These kind of thoughts start overtaking. But when you're a young person, all you want to do is to change the world. This is the power which we want to channelize towards making our communities, our countries stronger, with empathy towards one and all. So I think there is something of a purpose because of which I have been assigned this department, where the organization says not me but you. And so when when you all reached out to me to talk about to talk to the leadership in the leadership program today, I said I thought to myself, I'm not sure if I can motivate you to be a leader. Leadership is something which will come from within you. Leadership will come from the strength of convictions that you have, and then your life experiences will shape the kind of a leader you will become. Your life experiences and your reactions to situations as they develop. All I can do is perhaps dig into my own background and dig into my own experiences, and perhaps share a few anecdotes where I think I have derived strength from my teams, and I have derived a way, been able to forge a way ahead, which I think and I look back with satisfaction, not pride, but satisfaction that yes, in those circumstances, that is the best I could have done. So next coming weekend, we are doing is we are having a very big conclave in Varanasi, where I think even the Sai Satya Seva Sai Sansthan is also coming, where we are talking about channelizing youth through the spiritual organizations, whichever is their faith, and channelizing their inner strength for de-addiction. We understand with a lot of concern that drug abuse and addiction has become highly prevalent in our society all over the world. And India, unfortunately, being close to drug producing and nations, we find ourselves to be a conduit and a ready market. How do we channelize communities to be the strength for their youth, for their own members? How do we listen to their members and we bring them out with love and empathy? Those are the things we would be deliberating after this. This conclave will be available on a webcast. I would encourage you all to join in and listen to the not just leaders but spiritual leaders also talk about how this journey can actually help in strengthening our communities and helping the youth away from drugs. So this is what is coming up, and I think this, and I would love to hear your suggestions and your thoughts on what I have told you, on the things I have said today. So I think now perhaps it is time and we can open up for questions. Bharat?
Sairam ma'am.
Yeah, Sairam.
Sairam ma'am. Thank you so much. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपको. Words fall short to express what we have been feeling through the past few minutes. With your permission, we will now start with the question and answer. Sairam, dear sisters and brothers, before we start on with the question and answer, few ground rules. Please raise your virtual hand, and upon being called, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. आप अपने वर्चुअल जूम हैंड को रेज कर सकते हैं और अपना नाम बुलाने पर अनम्यूट करके अपने क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हो. प्लीज कीप योर क्वेश्चंस शॉर्ट एंड कंसाइज सो मेनी पीपल गेट अ चांस. अपने सवाल को छोटा और सटीक हो. Alternatively, you can also use the chat box anytime to post your questions and your questions will be answered. So let us now start with the first hands we find raised. Brother Sai from Karnataka South, you can unmute and go ahead.
Sairam, ma'am, thank you for your wonderful session. Am I audible, ma'am?
You are, brother.
Yes. Ma'am, my question would be like, after listening to your surveys about your activities and all, the first thing that comes to my mind is do aspirants like who are preparing for UPSC or something like that, do they need to have a plan B and a master's degree?
Okay, so you're asking a very practical question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. While the UPSC is one way of finding a position where you are able to do a lot of good work for society, I think every job has the same, no less, no more scope. So you should always have a plan B. One should always. So, for example, for me, my plan B was my academic career, and the day
Yes.
my UPSC result came out, just the day before, my NET JRF result also came out. So I was. It was not like this or that. It didn't matter. If I don't clear the UPSC, I would have gone very happily and become a lecturer in a college, because I find there's a lot of. I did that when I was doing my PhD in the US. And as a part of my fellowship, I had to teach. I found so much pleasure in teaching economics to children, which is what I intend to do after retirement again. So you must have a plan B of something you like to do so that you can fall back upon that and do something gainful in society.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So in the chat box, I have a question before we take the next hand. How did Swami's values help you in difficult situations in service? So as I said, from the beginning, there's so many things about Swamiji which I quoted. That just if you just take this childhood thing which I have seen, which is watch your words, watch your actions, watch your thoughts, watch your character, watch your heart. I think to me this watch takes care of everything in life. Right.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to the next participant, Brother Ujwal from Haryana. Please unmute and go ahead.
Sairam ma'am. Firstly, thank you so much for such a motivating session. Being myself aspirant for civil services, it's really motivating from my side. Like you motivate us so much being in this field for past 31 years. Secondly, ma'am, I am also NSS state awardee from UT Chandigarh last year. So from last 2 years, I have been like waiting for the result of national award, like the president award. This time I have been like preparing for the civil services. I have been using my contacts time and again, like whether award is happening or not. Every time they say the secretary ma'am has changed. So I just want to ask you like how to stay in that composure, being into the civil services preparation and waiting for such a result of such a prestigious award, like you being into that very particular field. So please help
So
me with.
थैंक यू उज्जवल. सबसे पहले तो आपने मुझे अलर्ट किया कि मुझे ये समझ, बिकॉज आई एम जस्ट 1 month इनटू दिस न्यू पोजीशन, तो मुझे ये समझना है कि एनएसएस अवार्ड्स कब से और क्यों नहीं दिए हैं. सो थैंक यू सो मच. आई मेक श्योर दैट आई गो एंड चेक ऑन दैट. एंड लेकिन एट द सेम टाइम आई वुड से कि इन छोटी छोटी चीज़ों के ऊपर आपको डटर नहीं होना है. आपको अपनी तैयारी करनी है और आपको एकाग्रचित होकर अपने अपनी पढ़ाई जारी रखनी है, अपना काम जारी रखना है. और एंड टू ऑल दोज सिविल सर्वेंट एस्पिरेंट्स, सिविल सर्विसेज एस्पिरेंट्स, एनी कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम एस्पिरेंट्स, all aspirants for jobs, all my best wishes are with all of you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Sairam.
Let's move on to the next participant, Brother Anand Ganesh from Tamil Nadu North. You can please unmute and ask your question.
Sairam, ma'am.
Sairam,
Ma'am,
Anand.
ma'am, since you are being in a very, very responsible position, both in state and central government so far for 30 plus years, so you would have you will face a lot of problems every day, right? Being from family, you'll be facing a lot of problems every day in your work, and sometimes from the family, or sometimes from the circumstances where you have not even imagined. So you should be a very tough person in those situations where you have to be strong and in all aspects. So there are some times that especially our generation, we lose the strength little fast, or the toughness little fast. And you, being a very senior person, have seen a lot of things in life, and how you have maintained your toughness and strength in every day, where it has not lost in the everyday mundanity, and also that you have applied the strength in solving the problems, and also you have increased your strength day by day amidst all these challenges, so that you'll be in future, you'll be taking a lot of, at your younger stage, you'll be taking a lot of important positions in the future. For that, you have to be even more strong. So how do you maintain your strength in everyday life, and how did you increase your strength so that you will be facing even more problems in a even more tactful? Yeah, thank you. This is my question.
Thank you, Anand. That's a very good question. Anand, when I was thinking about answering your question, one small thing I had read long back, it came to me, and it is my go-to kind of philosophy, which is that God has made 3 days: yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So yesterday is now past; it has gone. What happened has gone. Tomorrow is not in my hands. I do not know what tomorrow will bring. All I have is today. So, one day at a time, one step at a time is all that human beings can do. You can plan, but what is in your hand is today. So, if I'm able to do a good job of what is in front of me today, if I'm able to do that, I think every day becomes easier to go. And that is a coping mechanism. That is also leadership style. It is both. And I think that is what, and then as I had mentioned earlier, when I was recounting the Rajgarh incident, where there was a very highly communally charged, caste equations were very bad. There were firings, in the district so many times. I had to do, it's called Gasht. I had to, tour the district and all hours of the night with the police personnel, etc. Um, some physical exercise, some meditation, and these two things are something which, they say physical exercise releases the good hormones in the body. So these days there's a lot of talk about serotonin, dopamine, etc. it is actually scientifically proven that you can that you feel good when you exercise. So whether you do pranayam, you do yoga, you do any aerobic exercise, I like to swim, any exercise, and some meditation, some swadhyay, some quiet downtime, it helps you cope beautifully.
Thank you, ma'am. We have a question in the chat box from Sai Teja. It goes this way. As you're in the top service and you might have faced a lot of criticism on your actions and opposition to your thoughts and actions, how did you overcome that part of humiliation?
uh, yeah, I when I was recounting that COVID incident, and if if you go through the Google site, many of you youngsters must have already gone on Google and seen there was a lot of negativity which was coming out in the newspapers. So my family was a great sense of support that time, as well as my top bosses. Once they knew that what I'm doing is correct, it is technically correct, it is legally right, it is needed for the team, it is needed for the health system of the country, I had their support. But for that, I had to articulate, I had to be very clear that first I had to be clear about what I am doing is right. So I think I have been lucky that I have not really had many occasions of criticism, because perhaps I have tried to, whatever strategy we have taken in our work, if your team has been explained, their views have been taken, then it becomes a team strategy, and you don't face much of opposition. Similarly, for people, if you are going to come with a policy and you are going to announce that policy, if you have done sufficient groundwork in doing webcasts, video conferences, talking to people, talking to associations, organizations, leaders from their associations, then it percolates and you don't face that much opposition. So maybe I've been lucky, maybe I've been strategic, but I think I've been blessed also by Swamiji. I've been blessed that except for one or two situations which come back to me, I have had the love of all and support of everybody.
Thank you, ma'am. I'd now like to request Sister Sai Chandana from Odisha to go ahead with her question.
सायराम मैम, थैंक यू फॉर द
Sairam.
लवली सेशन। मैम, मैं ये पूछना चाहती हूँ, क्या कभी स्पिरिचुअलिटी आपकी सर्विस में मतलब स्पिरिचुअलिटी के हिसाब से कभी डिसीजन लेना आपको चैलेंजेस महसूस हुआ है, या ऑथोरिटेटिव पोजीशन, ऑथोरिटेटिव पर्सपेक्टिव से डिसीजन लेना आपको इजी रहा है?
साई चंदना, इतना सुंदर नाम है आपका। मैं इस बात से अभी भी मैं कई बार दुविधा में रहती हूँ कि ज्यादा आसान है कि अपनी पोजीशन को यूज करते हुए कोई डिसीजन लेना बाय डिक्टेट, बाय इम्पोजिंग द डिसीजन। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि फिर वो डिसीजन जो होता है वो आपका होता है, आपकी टीम का नहीं होता है। तो उसको आप जैसे ही उस पोस्ट से हटते हो या जैसे ही आप कुछ और काम करते हो, उस डिसीजन का फॉलो अप कमजोर हो जाता है, पुअर हो जाता है। सो इन ऑर्डर टू मेंटेन दैट सम एक्टिविटी, सम एक्शन, सम स्ट्रैटेजी स्टेज फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम, बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ती है, बहुत एफर्ट्स करने पड़ते हैं। वो टीम जब उसको ओन करती है, जब वो समझती है, then whatever you do, it may take more time, but it is more permanent.
Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thanks.
Brother Krupa Sindhu from Odisha, you can unmute and ask your question.
Sairam, madam.
Sairam.
Very thoughtful session I faced today, but from beginning, from tomorrow morning also, I'm very upset due to an event. And from that time, that question is bringing into again into my mind. Sometimes, as we taught speakers, that how a responsible officer can do many more things to for our society. But sometimes some incidents which much regarded and much painful to us, when an officer did not do his duty perfectly, and for that some people have to lost their life. And yesterday, near our district and college, you might have heard that news. A girl just burned out herself due to some time of kind of incident. पर ये जबकि वहाँ पे वो अगर उस लगता है कि उस पल अगर वो ऑफिसर या फिर उस कमिटी में जो थे अगर वो अपने ड्यूटी को सही से करते तो आज वो लड़की जिंदा होती या फिर सही सलामत होती। तो क्या हम उसको सही करने के लिए कुछ कर सकते हैं?
It's a very thoughtful question you've asked, Kripa Sindhu ji. I must say that yes, there are very challenging situations जब हम लोग फेस करते हैं, जहाँ पे हमको बहुत फर्म डिसीजन लेना पड़ता है और जहाँ पे हमको ऐसे नेगेटिव सिचुएशंस में जहाँ पे डेरिलिक्शन ऑफ ड्यूटी कहीं नज़र आती है या कहीं पे लगता है कि भाई जिसको जो कार्य करना चाहिए था उसका न करने के कारण बहुत बड़ी अनहोनी हो गई है. We have to take very strong measures in such situations to send a message. You see, कभी कभी क्या होता है, जैसे आप बच्चे को आप समझाते हो, सिखाते हो, प्यार से समझाते हो, लेकिन कभी कभी आपको स्ट्रिक्टली भी बोलना पड़ता है, कभी कभी थोड़ा सा बाउंड्री सेट करनी पड़ती है. इसी प्रकार से पब्लिक सर्विस में भी है कि आपको फर्मली कभी कभी कुछ चीज़ों को टॉलरेट करना बंद करना पड़ता है. जैसे मैंने आपको बहुत अच्छी बातें कही, लेकिन आपको मैं ये भी बताना चाहूँगी कि करप्शन एंड डेरिलिक्शन ऑफ ड्यूटी, इसको मैंने ज़िंदगी में कभी टॉलरेट नहीं करा है और मैंने बहुत स्ट्रांगली एक्शन लिया है जब भी कोई मेरे सामने ऐसी सिचुएशन आई है, क्योंकि मुझे लगा कि अगर हमने उस समय थोड़ा सा भी सॉफ्टनेस दिखा दी या हमने इग्नोर करा तो कल को वो कोई भी भयावह सिचुएशन में तब्दील हो सकता है. तो ऐसे सिचुएशंस में हमें बहुत स्ट्रिक्टली और फर्मली भी काम करना पड़ता है और करना चाहिए. एट द सेम टाइम हमें अपना सामंजस्य बना के रखना चाहिए. हमें वो स्ट्रिक्टनेस रखनी है, हमें फर्म होना है, लेकिन हमें जो जैसे कहते हैं ना, जो बहुत एक फेमस कहावत है कि जो गलत काम है उससे घृणा करो, व्यक्ति से नहीं. लेकिन अगर उस व्यक्ति को पनिशमेंट मिलनी है तो मिलनी पड़ेगी. तो इसलिए ये बात है कि यू हैव टू बी फर्म, यू हैव टू बी considerate, but you have to be very firm in some situations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, we'll take one last question from now. For now, Brother Sunil Bhatt from Telangana, please unmute and go ahead with the question.
Sairam, ma'am. My question is, Sairam, you have been working on the tribal villages. So my question is like, apart from health, water, and education, I mean, you have given unique thing is like the hostel warden, gratitude for the hostel warden. Do you have any suggestions similar to that? I mean, you will be working on the ground level. What can be done for the tribal villages? If you have anything more on that, can you tell me?
So I think the tribal communities are beautiful communities to work for. They are very receptive to any ideas of development. They want their children to be educated. They want to lead safe and healthy, productive lives. तो हम जो भी उनकी सेवा के लिए कार्य करते हैं, वो शिक्षा के लिए हो, सामाजिक जागरूकता के लिए हो, वो नशा और अल्कोहल के सेसेशन के लिए हो, वो सशक्तिकरण के लिए हो, वो महिलाओं की शिक्षा के लिए हो, पुरुषों की शिक्षा के लिए हो, वो स्किलिंग के लिए हो, उस हर कार्य जो हम ट्राइबल कम्युनिटी के लिए करते हैं, उसके नतीजे जो हैं, उसके परिणाम बहुत जल्दी मिलते हैं और बहुत अच्छे परिणाम मिलते हैं. तो मुझे लगता है कि आप जो भी कार्य लेना चाहें, एक तरीका है प्रशासन में, उसको कहते हैं पार्टिसिपेटरी अप्रेजल. What do you want to do? Is it your view or is it the community's view of what they want you to do? You understand? तो अगर आप कहीं जाते हैं, किसी कम्युनिटी के लिए काम करना चाहते हैं, सबसे पहले उनके साथ समय बिताइए और ये मालूम कीजिए कि वो क्या चाहते हैं, उनकी प्राथमिकताएं क्या हैं. और जब आप उनकी प्राथमिकताएं समझेंगे, उनके एस्पिरेशन समझेंगे, उस हिसाब से फिर आप अपने कार्य बनाइए, अपनी स्ट्रैटेजी बनाइए कि उनकी प्राथमिकता को हम सबसे पहले आंसर करें, हेल्प करें उनको। तो मुझे लगता है कि आपको परिणाम जल्दी भी मिलेंगे, अच्छे भी मिलेंगे और आपको एक बहुत ज़्यादा सैटिस्फैक्शन भी आपको उससे मिलेगा।
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Dear sisters and brothers, due to paucity of time, we request you to post your questions on the LMS portal. Please log into your account on the learning management system and you'll be seeing a forum for the Satsangatve Nissangatvam episode 8 where you can post in your questions. समय के अभाव के कारण आप लोग अपने सवाल LMS पोर्टल पे ऐड कर सकते हैं सत्संगत्वे निसंगत्वम episode 8 forum पर. Going forward, ma'am, you would like to say something?
Yes, Karishma, because there is one question I was reading in the text box, which I would really like to answer quickly.
Please.
It says, have you ever been in a situation where you were tempted or even pressured to be part of a corrupt act, but chose to stand by your values instead? What gave you the strength to say no? And how did that decision impact your life or career? Now, this is a question which has been asked very often in my life. I would like to quickly answer this. You see, I have never, ever been pressurized to do anything corrupt. I have never been tempted to do anything corrupt. Why is that? I've had this conversation with my friends, with my husband, even with my children also. Number one, मेरी दृष्टि कभी हमेशा अडिग रही है, कहीं दाएं बाएं नहीं गई है। इसलिए जब मैं दिल्ली छोड़कर सेवा में गई और ट्राइबल एरियाज में काम किया, मेरे पास वो ऑप्शन था कि मैं दिल्ली में कंफर्टेबल लाइफ लीड कर सकती थी, एक सुव्यवस्थित लाइफ लीड कर सकती थी। लेकिन मैंने सेवा का मार्ग अगर चुना है, तो वहाँ पे जो सेवा करने का मुझे मौका मिल रहा है, तो ये बाकी चीज़ों की क्या आवश्यकता है ही नहीं। तो इसलिए मुझे टेम्पटेशन नहीं हुआ, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, क्या किसी ने मुझे करप्शन के लिए प्रेशराइज़ किया? बिल्कुल नहीं। वो इसलिए नहीं हुआ होगा शायद, क्योंकि जब सामने व्यक्ति क्लियर है और जब आपको क्लियर है कि कोई प्रेशराइज़ होगा नहीं, तो कोई प्रयास भी नहीं करेगा। इसलिए आप सबसे अपेक्षा मत करें, केवल स्वयं पे काम करें। केवल स्वयं को स्पष्ट रखें, साफ रखें, दुनिया अपने आप साफ चलेगी आपके साथ-साथ में, कभी कोई प्रेशराइज़ नहीं करेगा। I refuse to believe anybody who says कि I was under great pressure. I just cannot believe that. जैसे अभी हमारे एक साथी ने बात करी कि भई हम ये करते अगर हम वो होते या हमको ऐसा करना चाहिए। बहुत मन आता है बहुत सारी चीज़ें करने का। मेरे सामने मेरा एक सीमित दायरा है। मैं उस दायरे में मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ, ये बहुत आवश्यक है। मैं वो चेंज लाऊँ जितना मैं कर सकती हूँ, उससे ज़्यादा मैं एक इंसान होने के नाते उससे ज़्यादा मैं नहीं कर सकती। जितना मेरा दायरा है, उस दायरे में कुछ भी पॉज़िटिव मैं कर सकूँ, वो मेरे लिए काफ़ी है। इस जीवन को जीने के लिए उतना परिणाम मेरे लिए काफ़ी है। उससे ज़्यादा चेंज लाना तो ईश्वर के हाथ में है। इतना मैं आपको कहना चाहूँगी अंत में अपनी तरफ से।
Thank you for taking up that question, ma'am. I think that was really necessary for all of us to listen to that answer. Going forward, I would like to request the convener of our program, Professor Yogendra Verma sir, to speak a few words.
Sairam, Pranam at the lotus feet of Bhagwan, and my regards to Madam Pallavi. In a very, I will say, जैसे भगवान की अप्रोच रही है, बहुत ही सरल तरीके से और समभाव से, जिस तरह से उन्होंने leadership wisdom which we can draw from the lives of people, how they have dealt the situations, that's very important. Although every circumstance is different, every situation is different from the other one. Perhaps जिस तरह की situation madam as a administrator has faced, हो सकता है उस तरह की situation हमारे जीवन में ना आए. But definitely two things are very important in leadership what I can draw from her talk. One is the circumstances and other is the inner strength. Now, which is more important? क्योंकि आपके जो क्वेश्चन थे, बहुत से क्वेश्चन जो एक यंग पर्सन के होने चाहिए, ये ऐसा क्यों होता है, ऐसा होना चाहिए, outsider, being an outsider, we can say like that. But when we are at that position to take a decision, how we do that? Do circumstances overpower our decisions or our inner strength? What I could learn, और मैं आप सबसे चाहूंगा कि आप सीखें फ्रॉम हर चाइल्डहुड, जो हमें परिवार के संस्कार मिलते हैं, उसके बाद हम अपना एफर्ट करते हैं, एंड देन फेथ इन डिविनिटी और स्पिरिचुअलिटी। एक क्वेश्चन बहुत अच्छा था कि क्या स्पिरिचुअलिटी कभी आपके, आई थिंक दिस चंदना है ना, शी वाज पुटिंग दिस क्वेश्चन, अरे स्पिरिचुअलिटी प्रोवाइड्स यू इनर स्ट्रेंथ। आपके अगर मैडम ने कहा कि मुझे कभी किसी की हिम्मत नहीं पड़ी, सेम थिंग हैपेंड विद मी एज वाइस चांसलर, नो वन एवर हैड एनी करेज। इवन एक बार एक मिनिस्टर ने कहा कि इसका जॉब का लगा देना, तो मैंने बड़े प्यार से उनको कहा, मैंने कहा सर आजकल वो आरटीआई होती है, तो आरटीआई का क्या करेंगे? तो कहने लगे अरे अरे नहीं नहीं, तुम अपने तरीके से देखना। See what type of aura you create. That aura comes with your inner strength, your integrity, your positivity. और जो मैडम ने बहुत अच्छी बात की कि यू आर फर्म ऑन योर डिसीजन, वंस यू टेक ए डिसीजन यू आर फर्म। बट एक वर्ड उन्होंने किया, एम्पैथी, यू आर एम्पैथेटिक, that you are seeing in those, even if there is a criminal, but you are seeing his human element in him. So I think circumstances and inner strength. Circumstances are external. You cannot control, you cannot manage all circumstances. In her humility, she has accepted it. And, I can't generalize that things should happen like this, should happen like this. Should is very easy. But when you have to deal the events, the crisis, the resources, और ये भी सही है, politics, and particularly in administration, you see the local politician, state level politician, central politician, after all, that create circumstances. But how you can deal, the wisdom which comes out, that is what I learned from Dr. Pallavi, is that your inner self, that you have to strengthen yourself. She gave it in a very simple way. Okay, do some meditation, do some exercises. If you are not physically fit, if you are not mentally stable, perhaps you cannot deal with any circumstances. So it was very learning experience to interact with you, madam, and particularly, your how you dealt with the situations. I think youngsters have a lot to learn. But what I feel is your inner strength is much more important than the circumstances. No circumstance is bigger than your inner strength. That's what we have learned from Bhagwan. And you see how Bhagwan has dealt with the different situations. We are also his spark. And this program intends to create leaders who are not fault finding, but the leaders who can manage, who can give a lead to the society themselves. That's why Swami said, Swami didn't want to change the society. He wanted to change the individuals. So as individuals, as all of us, as leaders, let's hope that after 5 years, after 10 years, we'll have a different type of society. Thank you very much, Dr. Pallavi, for your excellent interaction, down to earth, और हम सभी को समझ आया, पसंद आया। तो अब बात आती है कि हम अपने जीवन में इसको उतारें, अपनी इनर स्ट्रेंथ को बढ़ाएं। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, Professor Verma ji. Thank you so much for your kind words. Sairam.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to request our convener, Dr. Gopi Krishna Purtila, to speak a few words with all of us.
Sairam, thank you, Charishma. Sorry, I've just parked my car aside so I could speak these few words. Thank you so much, Pallavi ji, for accepting our invitation first. I hope we didn't force you that day when we met in Delhi, but I think even if we forced you, I think it's worth all that, and it's been a wonderful session. I think for me, it's a great takeaway. You spoke about willpower, grit, and Professor Verma was talking about the inner strength. That's the most beautiful thing. What your conscience says is the most important aspect that you're talking about. Then you came up with this beautiful thought process of team dynamics. In fact, for the youngsters, this is something that's very important for their career growth and the personal growth, how they actually gel with their family also, most of them will be getting married in a couple of years, how do they manage their families and how do they go forward? I think that's a great part. And the best part of it was your approach. You talked about the interactive bottom-up approach, rather than top-down approach where you normally give orders and get things, when the student asked of how the tribal village project could be taken up, go there, do a survey, see what the needs are, then come up with it. I think overall, you're a very blessed soul, Dr. Pallavi, and God bless you. And thank you so much. And on behalf of the All India President of the Satsang organization and an entire team here, we wholeheartedly thank you for being with us, and we hope that Swami will give you an opportunity to personally meet these kids, and maybe in January when we're going to have the valedictory function of this entire 400 plus students for the certificate program in Puttaparthi. We'd be very happy if you would come over there and be a part of this program also. Thank you so much, and God bless you, and good night. Sairam.
Thank you, Gopi Bhai, and all the love I'm getting from all the participants. I'm so grateful for this. For a person of my age, getting so many hearts, you can imagine how excited you must feel. Thank you so much.
Sairam.
Sairam.
Thank you, Uncle. Pallavi ma'am, thank you so much. The messages and the reactions are for sure seeing how these sessions mean a lot to each one of us here, and your presence today has just increased the impact. The way you've taken us through the ups and downs of life with his message, starting from a simple watch we wear every day to the inner actions which a watch will make us think, to the simple solutions, thank you, mom, to the simple solutions which you've given us, like the physical activity and meditation, which are very, very effective. And the most important message of Swami of loving all and serving all, which will help us arise out of situations and conflict. Each one message was very, very impactful. And the most important aspect of leadership, which you've touched upon, the teamwork and the team spirit in it, which you've mentioned. And most importantly, listening with empathy, which most of us are yet to be reminded again and again. Thank you for being that gentle reminder on this platform. I would like to end with only one word. This session has awakened a very strong sense of responsibility in us to help us and make us come together to build a Vikasit Bharat on the guidelines as per our Bhagavan. Thank you for being his messenger to all of us today. Sairam, ma'am.
Thank you, Sairam. Sairam to all.
Yeah. One important thing I missed, I wanted to thank you on behalf of the Satsang organization. You invited our youngsters for the de-addiction program that's going to happen. And Lakshmikant was telling us, that there's a team that's coming and joining the program also. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Very nice. We look forward to that. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Good night.
Thank you, ma'am.
Charishma?
Yes, Uncle. Moving forward, I would like to extend our gratitude to our conveners of the program for carefully and thoughtfully curating this program and the tireless efforts of the Satsangatve Nissangatvam team and the organizing team behind the scenes for the smooth conduct of this session. Dear sisters and brothers, you were all amazing. Your interactions has brought a lot of meaning to this session. Thank you. Most importantly, I would like to pranam Swami and give our collective gratitude to him for every subtle detail he's brought through this session and all the individual learnings he's given to each one of us when we came together as one on this unique platform. Thank you so much. We will now be ending this session with Shanti Mantram. Over to the IT team. Sairam.
समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।